Hi guys, this is the advisor and welcome back to my channel. Now, on Sunday, November 26th, a mini earthquake shook Jamaica. And right now, a lot of people hasn't felt the after effects. Some people who are very cognizant of current affairs has picked it up. But a lot of Jamaicans feel the earthquake, but them don't even realize it's the earthquake them feel. When I speak of earthquake, I'm speaking of a political earthquake. On that day, there was a JLP conference. And at that conference, it became clear that Venesha Phillips of the Papine Division in the KASMC crossed the floor to the governing JLP. On the face of it, this might not seem to be much because councillors cross the floor, have always been crossing the floor from the past 50, 60 years, both at the municipal level and at the national level. But what is very significant about this particular crossing is the timing of it. It has not happened in isolation, and we need to look at it. But first, just during the conference, a Jamaica Observer journalist had an interview with Venesha, and this is what she says, and I'm going to try to give you as verbatim as possible. She said, "The decision was finally made over the last month. I have been engaged with the JLP over the last 2.5 years, including my colleagues and members of the Jamaica Labour Party and the party leadership. I had a lot to think about. I had to think about why I was PNP, and I had to think about what I wanted to convey to Jamaica by my actions as a representative. Having looked at the PNP, you would have to agree with me that it is certainly not the organization that you are used to from the days of Mike and Marley. Eventually, I came to the conclusion that it was not the vehicle through which I could continue to serve Jamaica. Also, I came to the conclusion that the PNP in its current form is not working in the best interest of the people of Jamaica and does not seem to have what is required to move us forward. The people kept saying that Andrew Holness is using Michael Manley's playbook. Think about that for a moment. I had to think about that, and many of what he is doing resonated with me. Therefore, it should not come as a surprise that I would, of course, follow the message to which I have been grounded and rooted since I was born. The truth is, you have seen the growth in Andrew Michael Holness and in the politics of Jamaica Labour Party. You see political maturity, you see succession, you see vision. These were the things we talked about back in the days when we were talking about the PNP. Unfortunately, today that is not the conversations we are having. At that point, the interviewer asked her this question: "Is the PNP in need of a new leader?" And this was her response: "I will not be able to provide the PNP with what they need, but what I can say to comrades over there is that they need to do an introspection of what it is that is before them and where they would like to see Jamaica. Because the Jamaica Labour Party is now manifesting by its action that they are indeed the platform of the people. And so, of course, I, like many progressive Jamaicans, would like to be where we can contribute to the best prospects of the country, and an Andrew Holness-led Jamaica at this time and into the future is the better way, the best way, and the only way at this time." End of quote. Now, we have heard people saying in the past, a few years ago when Andrew just took over, that he was Minister. But anybody look at Andrew's behavior now, know that he's no longer Minister. And I don't think he would take any talk from Siaga or even Bruce Golding. If Siaga was alive, I don't think he would take any talk from him. And I don't think he's taking talk from none of the senior Labourites who has passed him. Because right now we're not looking at Mini Siaga, we're looking at Mini Michael Manley in very ways. And if you go on the street, that's what you are hearing. Now, personally, I think Michael Manley was the best Prime Minister Jamaica had ever had. So here is the conundrum. And I have reasons for saying that, and one day I might explain. But here is the conundrum. Here we have a man who respects, a JLP leader who respects Michael Manley and is playing all the way through with Michael Manley's handbook. But he happens to be a Labourite. Now, you see, the parties have both changed. Their philosophy, their outlook, their principles. And if you can hear what Venesha said, she said, having looked at the PNP, you would have to agree with me that it is certainly not the organization that we had used from the days of Michael Manley till today. In other words, Venesha Phillips is not looking at party. She's looking at ideas. And if she thinks right now, in her opinion, that the PNP has lost anything that Michael Manley had left. And therefore, the ideas that Michael Manley built inside of her, she is looking at them in Andrew wholeness. And therefore, she's not going to stay in a party that at this time seems hollow and seem a total shadow of itself. She's going to move to where Michael Manley's spirit and soul lies in the man Andrew Holness, as she see it. But here is a conundrum for Labourites. Labourites hate Michael Manley, because they blame Michael Manley for everything that the United States did to Jamaica in the 70s. Michael Manley took all the blame. And Labourites hate Michael Manley with a passion. Is Uno going to hate Andrew Holness the same way that Uno did hate Michael and hate Michael to this blessed day? Remember, right now Andrew Holness is using every single social reform policies that Michael Manley had developed back in the 70s. Not only that, remember, Siaga had used them in his time. Every single one of them, Michael Manley's policies were that good that Siaga couldn't show in none of them. He used every one of them. And every Labourite embraced all of Michael Manley's policies. Not at the time when Michael Manley was using it, but because of the way we think as people, are we so tribalist. When Siaga adopted all of Manley's policies, social reform policies, every Labourite gravitated towards it. So that is how tribalism works in Jamaica. We do not look at the individual and their capabilities. We look at the color shirt that they wear. And that is what I set back with Jamaicans, with tribalism. So now that we have a capitalist party, in other words, I personally, you know what I'm looking at? I am seeing a PNP who is what the JLP was in the 1960s and 70s. A total capitalist, fundamentalist, right-wing party. Well, first of all, this is not the PNP. We're talking about the risers because the PNP is a great party. We're looking at the risers. Now, what the risers have hijacked the PNP and turned it into now, I don't know. The upcoming local government election, I'm going to see if people are going to vote for Mini Michael Manley or they're going to vote for the capitalist TNP. I will look forward to see what they are going to do. Instead of looking at orange and green, if they're going to look at policies and exactly what these people can or will do. But if that were the full story, it wouldn't be so bad, but it gets worse. Because remember, 3 councillors had crossed the floor just weeks before. On the 14th of September this year, 2023, former PNP councillors Ian Miles and Garfield James had crossed the floor to join the JLP also, right? But they had left the PNP and were acting as independents for a number of weeks now, maybe 2-3 months. I can't remember how long. And we don't know, but it is believed that they were fed up with their leader and they wanted to change. They didn't see the PNP as being what it was. And they needed change, and that change wouldn't come, so they went independent. There is still the third one, who is Mr. Lawton Mackenzie, and he's from the Grange Hill division. And he has still remained uncommitted to both parties, but we will see what happens, if he is going to remain independent, or he is going to go back in the PNP or switch to the JLP. After the announced switching, Ian Miles, he came on Nationwide, and this is what he said.
As it is now, myself and Councillor James, we have moved forward in joining the Jamaica Labour Party. It's official. And we now look to serve with a distinction, as we often do under the umbrella of the People's National Party. We have been met with open arms. We just continue the work that we have started. Nothing has changed in terms of our positions here at Council. And so we remain the councillors for our respective divisions.
And then he went on to say this.
That is something good, It's a testament to the kind of person I am and what I represent. Because to have persons having your back like this, I must say kudos to them, and we'll continue to build the wider division. Persons already, they have been making their claim and stating their position that wherever I go, whatever I do, that's where they will be. That's what they're about. It's just a kind of leadership, seriousness of purpose, one that has transparency, one that has, no animosity, but just that genuine caring nature for individuals, and that's what I'm about. Service above self. So persons love it.
Listen again. You hear that? The man said where he had consulting his people, and they say that wherever he goes, that's where they will go. Same thing with Venesha Phillips. She consulted her people, and they are following behind her. These PNP councillors are not doing it on their own. So perhaps the reason why Lawton Mackenzie of the Grange Hill division might not have gone over to the JLP as yet may be because his consulting with his people have not yet been completed, and he would like his people to come with him. So perhaps that's what's holding him up. And we need to bear in mind, that is not now the exodus from the PNP started. Do we remember Carrie Douglas of the Trafalgar division for the PNP? She crossed the floor in February 2020. Now, I wonder if anybody know who Carrie Douglas really is. Carrie Douglas is the daughter of veteran PNP stalwart Easton Douglas. Now, you cannot get more PNP than Easton Douglas. And she walked out on the party. She crossed the floor. At the time, she was the youngest PNP councillor in the KASMC, and she was the second youngest in the entire local government council in the entire island. She had justified her reason for leaving, and I just want to give you 2 lines from what she had said at the time. She said that I have become deeply concerned that my former party had become a political organization which is primarily focused on winning elections at any cost, as opposed to pursuing an unswerving commitment to national development. And in that process, listening to the people and creating policies to meet their needs. She also said, there are many people across Jamaica, especially young people, who have had a reawakening of their political views due to the Prime Minister and JLP leaders' refreshing approach to politics and steering the reins of government in a manner which puts the interests of the people first, and also is not afraid to hold accountable public officials who step out of line. Well, I kind of agree with everything she said, except for the part about holding public officials accountable. Because if Andrew Holness was holding political officials accountable, the dead wood, and I mean wood in a Jamaican terms, when no matter how much ton of Viagra you put towards that wood, it could never get up. Think about that. And if that was a person, that would be Horace Chang. That is the worst mistake and the worst excuse for this country, and that will be a blot and a jail and any JLP government or any government as long as this country exists. Apart from that, I don't think she has said anything wrong. Guys, I will say this, Jamaica is a democracy. And in a democracy, you need two strong parties, at least two. And I like the two party because three party make a bigger party, well, maybe even three. But a bigger party going to complicate things. But you need two strong parties for democracy to work. And right now, democracy is not working in Jamaica. And democracy is not working because right now it's only one party we have. And it's the JLP. We do not have a PNP. We have a Rise United, which has hijacked the PNP. The PNP is a shadow of itself. And even if we perceive the JLP as being a good party or a party that aims to do good, once it has the lassitude to do anything it wants, because it has no competition and it has no fear of getting out of power, it's we who are going to lose. They're going to get careless. It's just human nature. It is just human nature. So we need a strong PNP. It is extremely essential. An opposition party must be a government in waiting. And there's no delusion about this, That's not a government in waiting. And I want the best for my country. And I want to see a strong PNP. So guys, like, share, leave a comment below. And I look forward to seeing you in my next video.